Microsoft's earnings report is in and it shows some healthy growth for Xbox. Welcome everybody and thank you for joining me. So today Microsoft revealed their quarterly earnings report and as expected, Xbox hit it out of the park. Now we got some pretty interesting sales figures to go over, and during the last quarter Microsoft reported some huge sales numbers, and that was largely due to the pandemic but also because of the newly released Xbox Series consoles, and this quarter seems to be following that same trend as the last quarter and even completely shattering it in some cases. Now looking at revenue sales figures like this for Xbox but also for Microsoft is extremely important. I've spoken about this before, but when it comes to buying a console, you are making an investment into your gaming future, and if you want to get a feel about what is next for the purchase that you made, the best way to do that is to look at the revenue and the profits. High hardware sales means more hardware, higher subscriptions for Game Pass means more features and more games, and high revenue and profits for Microsoft means more acquisitions and investments into gaming. So first and foremost, Microsoft announced its third quarter earnings report for the factual year of 2021 on Tuesday, reporting a 19% growth in revenue year over year, clocking in at $41.7 billion. The company also demonstrated steady growth in its gaming portfolio this quarter, with revenue up 50% over the same period in 2020, attributed to the steady uptick across the complete Xbox portfolio. So it is important to note here that this is the quarterly report and there are obviously 4 quarters in a year. Xbox has seen a 50% growth, which is an impressive amount, and there is a few reasons for this increase. The first big place where Xbox saw some massive sales figures was with the launch of the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X consoles as expected. Although they did not share any numbers with us, the last estimates that we saw was well over 4 million consoles sold, so it's probably now closer to 5 million if not over that already. Now Windows Central points out that the third quarter of the financial year 2021 results came almost 6 months following the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, its two latest hardware launches kickstarting a new console cycle. High demand for the latest devices, still regularly out of stock among retailers worldwide, push hardware revenue up 252%. The Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S availability remains constrained by the ongoing chip shortages, further amplified by interest in the new console family. So they say that although the revenue is up by more than 200%, it actually could have been even higher if not for the shortage in supply. Unfortunately, there is no clear date as to when we can expect to see the supply demands be met. Microsoft is saying somewhere after June maybe, but who knows at this point, it could actually be longer than that. In fact, all hardware manufacturing is facing shortage right now. I couldn't even buy a Samsung phone this weekend, everything was out and nobody could even tell me when the stock was going to be refilled. It is just bad all around. But anyways, where Microsoft also saw some healthy growth over the last quarter was with the content and the services. Now the content and the services is obviously Xbox Game Pass, and that saw some very big gains. Xbox content and services saw a 54% increase this quarter, attributed to the success from both Microsoft published first party titles and third party releases. Microsoft also reports Xbox Game Pass subscriptions, its Netflix style subscription service for Xbox PC and cloud gaming, among the services driving increased revenue. While Microsoft is yet to report new numbers for Xbox Game Pass, it was previously announced at 18 million active subscribers for January of 2021. So that is probably the best growth for Xbox because they have been going so hard with Xbox Game Pass, and to see this level of growth is kind of crazy. I would just like to point out again that the 54% growth is from the last quarter to this quarter, which is crazy to think about. The last number of subscribers that was reported was 18 million, which means that the current subscriber count is over 24 million, which also means that the report that we saw last week from Jace Gordon was correct when he said that Xbox Game Pass was at 24 million. At the time, people were giving him a very hard time for reporting that number, saying that it was false, but now as you can see in black and white straight from Microsoft themselves, that number is in fact correct. And again, this is indeed a very positive growth, because as I've said before, the more people sign up for the service, the better the content will be for all of us. Now I do not know how many subscribers Xbox Game Pass actually needs to be profitable, but I am willing to bet that it is a lot. At 24 million though, they must probably be close to at least breaking even. I am sure that in the beginning Xbox was losing a lot of money with Xbox Game Pass, just like Netflix and Disney and Amazon did, but in the end it is worth it if the service continues to grow. Now I do understand that taking a net loss up front is not something that everybody can do. I believe that is a big reason why Sony does not currently have a service like Game Pass, although in their defense they don't really need it. With just amazing first party titles, they are making a killing just like Nintendo is, but I still think that gaming is heading in the direction of subscriptions just like movies and music did, so it is probably better just to get in early before it is too late. So Microsoft already have Bethesda and EA under Game Pass, and if they also get Ubisoft Plus, which all evidence is currently pointing to the fact that they will, the gap between Game Pass and the rest of the competition might become so big that no one can ever catch up. I do think a company like Nintendo will be fine without ever getting Game Pass, but it is something that Sony might want to look into. They already have a decent service with PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, and if they just combine that and market PlayStation Now better, I think they can already be halfway there. But they are already extremely profitable, so they don't need my business advice. Anyway, this has been a very healthy quarter and year for Xbox. With services like Game Pass continuing to grow, Xbox is definitely going in the right direction. But on that note, this is where I'm going to end it. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you would like to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing, and as always, please remember to stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and I hope to see you again soon.